So actually, I thought this was like the best parts. For me, these were the most interesting parts.
Yeah, there was some interesting stuff in it.
With the social systems and everything. So let me share the screen. Here. Anyway, this was, I read some article, Bosworth's article from 1906 on this castes that Megasthenes described here, or these social classes. So I thought this was pretty good. Megasthenes described a hierarchical sevenfold division of society into rigid hereditary groupings, some of which correspond to castes and others to more specialized subdivisions. It is not a description of the caste system as such, as is now almost universally acknowledged, but an analysis of social specialization and hereditary exclusiveness conducted from the viewpoint of a Greek observer thinking in Greek categories and affected by a tradition of Greek philosophical speculation. So even though this was like autopsy, it was based on him actually having visited India around 300 BC. It's very much stamped by this this interpretatio Graeca point of view. So he really thinks in these Greek categories. But yeah, there is like some of these groups are clearly recognizable as castes, but what others are his interpretation of the social system somehow. And but another thing which is interesting is that this is like before the Mauryan Empire. So the Mauryan Empire is like was the probably most famous ancient Indian empire, which started with Chandragupta Maurya. And when Megasthenes was visiting India, this empire wasn't yet in existence, even though Chandragupta Maurya existed, but he was a smaller king. And this we also see that it's like he's actually describing a society with many small kingdoms, and there's not yet a great central power, not a great empire, but that's something that's coming into being like a decades after this Megasthenes writings. So that's another interesting thing. Anyway, let's move to the actual text to see what we get out of this. Andy, would you like to start?
Okay, we try. Right. Perimenon to Dionyso kai ton apogonon auto, is it Toyota?
Yeah.
Mythologisan oi ten orienin ten indices Caticontis, ton te Heracle, phasi par autos gegnestiae kai paraplesius, tois helesi to di rotalon kai ten Leontin auto prosaptusi. I kind of got that. What was it? So concerning Dionysus and his descendants, such are the myths as told by the Indian settlers in the mountains.
Yeah. Pretty good.
They say that Heracles was born among them, and they assigned to him in common with the Greeks the club and the lion skin.
Yeah. And then
Teddy to Somatos, Chromen kai Alke, Polo to ton alon anthropon, Kiev, couldn't get that one. Kai Kafaran, Poiesaton, Therion, Gendikai, the Latin. They say he is superior to all other men in bodily strength and courage, and cleansed both the land and sea of wild beasts.
Yeah, cleans. Yeah. Katharampo, yes, I'm making clean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you just continue then?
Okay. Gemata de pleios gonaikos huios men polus. Thugatura de Mayan genesai kai tuton en elekon genomenon pasanten indican dialomenon aisas tos technois meridas apantas tus huios apodaitsa Basilius Mayandi Thugatera Orepsanta, couldn't get that out there. Kai Totin Basilian Apodexa.
Yeah. So Trepsanta here.
Right. And marrying very many women, he bore many sons and bore one daughter. And when the sons came into manhood, dividing all of India into equal parts for each child, he appointed all his sons kings, and his one daughter he appointed a queen.
Yeah. So this Trepsanta here, what tense is this in?
Now you've got me. I'm still learning my tenses and I'm not quite up to scratch with them.
That's aorist, so you can recognize it from
So it's past.
this alpha here. And it's a participle form, of course.
Right. So he divided all of India into equal parts for each child.
Yeah, I guess in that immediate course, you will probably have a lot of aorist forms, so they can be good to try to memorize. So having brought up, or having brought up one daughter, the aorist participle usually is used to give expression to an past completed action. So having brought up one daughter, he also made her queen, Basilissa.
Just one daughter he appointed a queen, yeah.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. Okay. Then this beginning was pretty straightforward and nice to read, actually, as you said.
It was actually for a wee change.
Yeah.
Katistin te polion ok oligon genestai kai tuton ten epiphanestatin kai megasten prosagoriusai Malibothra.
Palibothra. This is
Palibothra, sorry. So
Yeah.
it's capital P. It was my own stupidity. He became the founder of not a few cities, and this struggled a wee bit. I just got and that appearing the largest he called Palibothra.
Yeah. And the largest of these, like the largest and most Epiphanes, most notable or something.
Right.
Megasthenes, so these are superlative forms, of course, both. The largest and most notable or most famous of these is called Palibothra. So this is Pataliputra in India. So this was later became the Mauryan capital then.
Right.
But at this point, the Mauryan Empire is not yet in existence, but they are somewhere in northwestern parts of India, bordering to Bactria. Then this, but I don't think it's not quite clear where this Pataliputra actually was situated.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find much about it.
But somewhere there, and then he also mentions Sandrakottos, but not in these passages that we have. Sandrakottas is like Chandragupta, who was the king of this Mauryan Empire, which wasn't an empire at that point yet, but which became an empire later. So the most famous emperor, Mauryan emperor, was of course Ashoka Maurya, who has been also referred to as the only maybe truly enlightened leader or empire in the history of the world. At least this was H.G. Wells' conception, I think.
Aye.
But yeah, and he was also the one who introduced, Ashoka was the one who introduced Buddhism properly as a state
Right.
religion, yeah, in India. Okay, but yeah, maybe you can. You're only 3 persons here, so maybe you can read a bit further.
Okay. Kataskeusai, Denautai kai Basilie, Polutele kai Plethos, Oiketeron, Cathedrusai.
Yeah, very good. That was
That much I got as what was it? And in it, he constructed a very expensive palace and he settled a great number of inhabitants.
Yeah. And where did he? And out there. What does and out there mean?
Sorry, what does
This and out there here? What does it mean?
and out there? So in there he settled.
In there, yes. So in which, what does it refer to?
If he appeared called the largest, so it would have been
Tenepyfinasta.
in Palabothra, no? And then
Yeah, or the city. So
yeah.
one of these cities, Hepolis. This is in the feminine, right, as well.
Yeah, because it carries on. It's the Tendi pollen Ochurosai, Taphrois, Axiologois, Potamois, Udase, Plerumenius. That was he fortified this city with remarkable trenches that he filled with water from the river.
Yeah. Yeah, filled with water from the river, actually. So this is passive here. Plerumenius. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you want to take this whole paragraph here to the end.
Okay. Kaiton men Heraclea 10x anthropon metastasen poiesamenon athanatu toxean timines tus da pogunus autobasiliasantas epipolis genias kai praxeas axiologus metachere menos I can't quite get that one. So metacheresamenos.
Yeah, metacheresamenos, yeah.
Meti stratian huperorion.
Yeah.
Oiesastai muti. Oh, excuse me, just a wee second. Oh, it's just my door. Hello. Hi, can you just put it in the front door for me, please? Thanks. Sorry about that. That's my lovely Amazon delivery. Thank you. Right, where did I get to? Poiesastai,
Yeah.
Meti Poikian, Ais Aliothenes, Apostielii. I struggled a wee bit with some of them. And Heracles moved among men. He was honorably worshipped as immortal, but his descendants, though they ruled over many generations and did remarkable things, they made no campaign beyond their own boundaries and sent no colony to any foreign lands.
Yeah. Exactly. This metastasin poiesamenon. What does it mean?
Metastasin poesia.
Anthropon ex anthropon.
Is that not like honorably worshipped?
What?
Was that what that was? Among the honorably worshipped?
So this is like Athanatotechentines. So this is he was honorably worshipped, maybe, or he received the worship of an immortal. Athanatotechentines, he received the worship or honor of an immortal. But here, ex anthropo metastasin poiesamenon, it means something like after he had left the humans, or after he had how did I have it?
Here it is, you're just down from your cursor.
After Heracles had removed himself from humans, he received immortal honor. Very literally. So metastasis is like means an transition or a removal. So he made a removal. He removed himself from humans somehow. That's what literally.
I don't know where I got descendants from then.
Poiesamenon here, this middle aorist participle is like reflexive. So he made it to himself. And metastasis, a removal. Having made a removal to himself, ex anthropon, from humans. So basically, when he left the humans world, or when after he had died, maybe even could be the actual meaning. So
I think I've got myself.
After he had died, began to be worshipped like an human, like an immortal god. So this is again, this kind of way of explaining mythological stuff, as for instance, this there was this idea around among Greeks that gods and semi-gods had all been humans. Actually, this idea started to develop at this point.
Yeah.
Time that they had all been actually humans, and they just started to be worshipped as gods, and every god sues all these different gods in the Greek pantheon had actually all been normal humans, and maybe they never were anything else either. So this is like a very sort of sexual and rational, I think, explanation of these myths, which is impression to here. Of course, this is not Heracles. This is some ancient Indian god which resembles Heracles a bit, but which by this author Megasthenes is interpreted as being Heracles, because he generally all the way through here he uses these Greek categories, simply just projects them onto this Indian reality. So this seems to have been a very common way of doing it. Herodotus does the same in his ethnographical digressions, and other Greek authors as well that we have been reading about do the same when they talk about India. Completely just project these Greek categories on the Indian reality. Even though he had seen these places himself, he had no problems in speaking about them in Greek terms. So it must have been a common practice. Anyway.
Yeah.
How far did we reach?
I think there's just still one more line to go. Eusteron dipolois, I think that's where we got to, yeah. Eusteron dipolois tesitas pliestas menton polion democratithena.
Yeah, Democratithena, yeah.
Tinon dethnon tas basilias diaminai mechrites Alexandru Diabasius. Kind of got that. It's after many years, most of the cities had a democratic constitution, but for some tribes, the kingship persisted until the crossing of Alexander.
Yeah, exactly. So this is actually an passive aorist infinitive, this democratethena of democrateo. So having a democratic constitution or being democratically governed had become democratically governed.
Yeah.
But completely possible translation, which I've heard there. So very good work. Maybe Leslie would like to continue from here. Have you reached this far?
Yeah.
Leslie. Yeah.
Nomimon de onton paratois indois enion exilagmenon thermasiotaton antis hige saito to catadikes than hupoton archaion par autois philosophon. Of some customs experienced among the Indians, one would be believed the most wonderful, the one introduced by the ancient wise men.
Yeah, good. So how did you understand this exilagmenon here?
Believed most wonderful.
Yeah. I was just thinking which verb is here at the basis. I think it's exilauno. Right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exilauno. So like that, then it would be literally, it would be like go away or march out or exit. Enion exilagmenon. So there are some customs of these Indians which have somehow exited or marched out of India. So they have, I think that they have become known of the customs that have become known of the Indians. So which are known to the Greeks, or I guess there are a few customs literally among the Indians which have become known to the Greeks. And of these, the most remarkable or the most worthy of wonder is that one which you said, as you said, the one which was introduced by these ancient philosophers. And then how does it continue?
Yeah, that's clear. Nenomos thetai, gar paraitois dulon men medina ine to parapan, elitherus de huparchuntas tin isonte timan en passi.
Yeah.
I lost my translation. For it was made a law that no one among them at all should be a slave, but be free, and to honor equality for all.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, this custom, this is probably a misrepresentation then, because at least in the Arthashastra they mention slaves, and of course we had also this lowest castes among the Indians, not the Sudras, but which Varna, the was it the Vaishyas? Anyway, there was a servant class, of course, which can be pretty much equal with slaves, and they were actual slaves as well. So this was not an accurate observation. Anyway, yeah, but how does it continue?
Tuskar mathontas me superechen me supopitine. Oh wait, have I missed a bit out?
Yeah, no, that's in right.
No. Alois kratiston exine bion pros hapasas tas peristasis.
Mhm.
For those who have learned not to be above or below others, will have the best life in all circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. And then
for if it is silly to set in place laws for all equally, for it is silly to set in place laws for all equally, but to make unequal beings.
yeah, probably that could be a possible. Tas the Usias. I was unsure what this referred to. I took it
People,
as being creating an actual reality which is unequal, anomalous. So creating a reality which is unequal, while then on the other hand establishing laws which are the same for all. But what tas the Usias? I mean, Usia usually referred to some kind of possession or being, as you said, but tas the Usias here, maybe something like the reality. I don't know. But
yeah.
Could be being as well, as you said. Okay, but how does it continue then?
Todepan plethos ton indon is hepta meri dieretae hon esti tomen proton systema philosophon plethai men tonalon meron lipomenon te de epiphaniae panton proteon.
Yeah.
The whole number of Indians is divided into 7 parts, of which the first is a body of philosophers.
Yeah.
Inferior in number to the other parts, but first of all in distinction.
Yes, exactly. So the most valued class is this, which he calls philosophers, but which were the Brahmans. Brahmans. So this is an actual caste, more a class, an actual caste than some kind of social category. Which this seems to be like there are some occupational categories, and then there's like castes. So it's an intermixture of these. It seems this sevenfold division that he creates, or which he projects onto this Indian, or these Indian societies, so to speak. But these were the Brahmans, probably. Yeah. And how does it continue then?
Ale tur gitoi gar ontes hoi philosophoi passes purgias uth heteron curiusen uth heteron desposontai.
Yeah.
For the philosophers, being free from all service, are neither masters of others, nor are they under other masters.
Yeah, exactly. So here, alle leiturgor. So an alpha privativum in front of this liturgia, which means originally meant just some kind of public service, any kind of public service. But then, of course, liturgy, the religious in the religious vocabulary, it gets more specific meaning later. But in these Greek societies, liturgia was something that these more wealthy citizens were obliged to take upon themselves. So basically, public service which was undertaken by private individuals for free. It should exist in the world of today as well, I think. So Elon Musk and other ultra-rich people should have this obligation to do liturgia, public service. But this, yeah, they were exempt from this. But what did they do then instead? These philosophers, these Brahmans, Paralambanontai. What? How does it continue? Leslie?
Paralambanontai de hupo menton indioton estetasen to biothusias kai estas ton teteltekoton epimelias hostheois gegenote. I think what I'm reading from goes on to another line. It doesn't quite make sense. Yeah, gegenotes pros philestatoi kai periton en hedo malist pyros efontes tautis tes purgias durate kai timas lambanusen axiologus.
Good. How does this complex sentence translate?
But they undertake for their own countrymen both sacrifices in life and the care of the dead, as being most dear to the gods. And having experience, especially of Hades, having experienced, especially concerning Hades. And for these services, they receive both gifts and distinguished honors.
Yeah. Yes. So this Paralambananta Hypomenton Idioton, as you had the undertake for the countrymen, that's possible, yeah. Paralambanomai also in the middle could be invite, they are invited. In the passive here, I mean, sorry. Paralambananta. They are invited by idiotes, private citizens, right? They are invited by private citizens to take care of these offerings which pertain to life on the one hand, and then also this care for the dead. And then this Peritonen Hadumalista and Peras Echontes could also be something like they have most experience of the things pertaining to Hades, so pertaining to the underworld or pertaining to death. So, but yeah, I mean, this is somehow accurate because of obviously these Brahmans were in charge of all kind of ritual practice, basically. But it's interesting that he makes some distinction between like this, that it's not really public, it's more like private, this service. But I don't know if this is an actual reality that existed in India, that this kind of distinction was made. Because I mean, ritual offerings, at least in ancient Greece, was very much a public matter. Of course, you perform these rituals, for the sake of the city as a whole, and so on in most cases. But then, of course, there was also all kinds of private rituals and private offerings and stuff like this going on. But anyway, it seems a bit strange that there's this sharp distinction, maybe because obviously these Brahmans would also have been in charge of all kinds of public rituals, one would guess. But you never know how much of this is true and how much is not true. But that was some distinction which seemed a bit strange. Well, but maybe you would like to continue, or
Tode koino ton indon megalas perifontai thrias paralam banomenoi men kata to neon etos epitein megalin synodon proligontes detois plethesi peri auchmon kai epombrias eti de animon eupnoias kai noson kai ton alon ton dynamenon tus acuontas ophelisai. They provide great services to, ordinary Indians.
ordinary Indians. I would say this is more Todekoino Tonin, so this would be like for the public, or for the public matters of Indians, or something like this. Let me see what I had. Todekoino Ton in the
Could it be common Indian?
Common good of the Indians. I had. They also render great service to the common good of the Indians. So this was the distinction between the private and the public that I spoke about, because here is now he starts speaking about the private as it feels. Before he spoke about the private matter. So here, hypomenton idioton, right, by the private citizens. Hypomenton idioton. Here they are invited by the private citizens on the one hand, but then here he starts talking about the more public koinot on him. So this is like a distinction between private on the one hand and public here. So the public, I had translated as the public good of the Indians. They render great service or do many useful things provide many useful services for the public good of the Indians. Could be one translation. And then we have again this paralamban nomenoi. Paralamban nomenoi, being invited, like could be one translation. As they are being invited to the New Year synod, so to the New Year party basically, or coming together during the New Year. And here they then prolegontes de tos pletos, they forecast to the multitude about droughts and heavy rains, heavy rains, and on the blowing or good or favorable blowing of the winds, and on diseases and everything else with the potential of being of use to these auditors, these people who hear them making these forecasts. Okay, then there was just a few more sentences here on the on these Brahmanas, or these philosophers.
Tamalonta gar prosecusantes hoi tipoloi kai o basilus ec plerusen ai tumelon ec leipin kai pro catascuatsusen ai titon chrysimon. Both many people and the king hearing beforehand of future events. Yeah, I was confused here. They prepare beforehand what is useful.
Yeah, so that's what we have here. Beforehand, that which is useful, and then this ekplerosin aietomelon. What does that mean? Ekplerosin aietomelon.
They, yeah, I wasn't sure about this. They always, something about leading or supplying the future.
Yeah, so this tomelon is like can be in the future for sure, but also it can be like that which is about to happen or something like this. So ekplero is like fill up, right? So here it's in the third person plural. They fill up aietomelon ekleipe, could mean like that which is about to run out, that which, you know, in every situation, or you know, in that situation is about to be empty, become empty. So, you know, the storages and stuff like this, they fill up that which is or will be empty, because these philosophers are able to foretell this, right? What will there be a shortage of? So tomelon ekleipe, that which is about to run out, or which will run out, or which will run out in the future as well, if you take it to mean in the future. And then yeah, they prepare beforehand that which will be useful as well in general. So yeah, and then this last sentence pertaining to the philosophers, how does it translate for that?
Hoi de apotuphon ton philosophon entais proresesin Alin men Udemian Anadexatai Timurian e blasphemian Aphonos de diatele ton loipon bion.
Yeah.
If any one of the philosophers err in his predictions, he receives no other retribution than slander.
Yeah.
He continues without a voice for the rest of his life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So he lives out the rest of his life in silence, basically. But that's not really part of the retribution or the penalty of Timoria. The slander is the only penalty actually for such an erring forecast. But then, you know, out of shame or whatever, he then lives out the rest of his life in silence. So he makes no more forecasts if he fails in one. Okay, then we arrive at the second social class here, distinguished by Megasthenes. Alexander, are you there? Would you like to do
Yeah,
something?
I'm here. Can you hear me all?
Yes, you can, please.
Great. So let me just start.
By the way, did you finish your PhD thesis? I was going to ask you.
Yeah, not yet. I'm still writing it, but I hope it will be done in 6 to 8 months.
Okay, that's
my current plan.
that's how it usually goes. I was sure that I was going to be finished in early 2017, but then I wasn't finished until the spring of 2018. So it took 1.5 more years than what I was
Best of
sure.
luck with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, best of luck, Alexander.
Thank you.
It will
Thank you.
finish it with honor for sure.
Okay. So deuteron destimeros toton gergon hoito plethei tonalon polyproechein dukusin. The second caste or the second part of the society are farmers who are considered to be the most numerous of all.
Yeah, good.
Hutui de polemon kai tesales liturgias afeimenoi peritas gergias asholuntai. They are free from soldiering, from war duty, and any other obligation to the state, so they can focus on the agriculture, on farming.
Yeah.
Kai udeis an polemios peritichon gergo katatenhoran adikeseien an alhos koinu seurgetas hegumenoi pasis adikias apehontai. None of the soldiers who meet a farmer will do harm to them. They are regarded as common benefactors and protected from harm.
Yes. Exactly. So kept away from all kinds of injustice or harm. Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dio per adiapthoros hechora diamenusa kai karpois brithusa polen apollos imparechete ton epitedeion tois anthropois. Therefore, the land is unravaged, unspoiled. It is full of fruit and provides these fruits to the people.
Yeah.
It's a bit looser translation.
So yeah, Apollos is like literally some kind of pleasure, right?
Yeah, pleasure from abundance. That's how I
Yeah,
understood that word.
Yeah. Pleasure from abundance of supplies or something like this. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Then
Okay, biusi depites horas metatecnon kai gineikon hoi georgoi, kai teseisten polin katabaseos pantelos afestekasi. The farmers spend their lives on their land among children and women, and they totally abstain from coming to the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Teste horas miscus telusito basilei diatopassenten indicen basilicen einei, idioten de medeni gen exenai kexhai. Horis de tes mischoteos tetarten eisto basilicon telusi.
Yeah.
They pay rent to the king because whole of India is king's land, and it is not allowed for a private person to possess land. So their rent to the king is 1/4 of their produce from their land.
Yeah, Horace tells me Mr. I take it as apart from this rent,
Okay.
they also pay a
They
fourth
also
part. That's how
okay.
I understand it. But
Mhm.
so they
Okay.
get rent, and then they also pay a fourth part of everything that they make, or probably what they grow. I guess they would pay it directly in grain. This
Yeah,
this
probably.
tax. Okay. Then the firm.
Okay.
Maybe you want to continue with the firm.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem. I can continue. Triton de esti filon toton bukolon kai poimenon kai katkolu panton ton nomeon, hoi polin men hekomen uk oikusi, skenite de bio chrontei. The third tribe, the third caste, are shepherds, herdsmen, and all others who take care of animals. Don't live in cities or villages, but spend their lives in tents.
Yeah, exactly.
Pronte, hoidauti kai kineguntes katharan poiusiten horan orneon te kait herion. And others as well as hunters who cleanse the land from birds and wild animals.
Yeah.
Eistauta das cuntes kai filotechnuntes exemerus iten indicen plethusan polon kai pantodapont herion te kai orneon ton kateschionton da spermata ton georgon. They are so good at their calling, or they're so good at this, what is their calling, that they tame the Indian land, which is full of many and various wild beasts and animals that devour the seeds of the farmers.
Yeah, exactly. So this was again not really some clear caste. This was like more some occupational group that he has identified as a caste, then, but or purely as he speaks of tribe. But probably there are some people occupied with this in India as well. Okay, then fourth. Maybe you want to continue with the fourth.
Yeah, no problem. Τέταρτον δεστημέρος των τεχνητών. The fourth caste are artisans. Kai tuton hoimeneisin hoplopojoi, hoidetois kerkois tisin alois ta chresima pros hyperesian kataskewadzousin. Some of them are armorers or weapon makers, and the others equip farmers and other people with useful things or tools.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I got it right.
Yeah, yeah. Hyperesian. How did you understand that?
Hyperesian is service. I mean, original meaning is ship's crew, I found, or then naval equipment, and like other meanings are service or
Yeah,
doing something useful or making something useful for other person.
Yeah, that totally confused me. The first thing I got was ship's crew, and I'm saying, where did that come from?
yeah. That was probably the original,
Yeah, so
more concrete meaning, but then it became like this abstract noun. Probably more commonly used hyperesia service, basically. So cross hyperesia, so it's like somehow for useful for their service, right? So they prepare for the farmers and for some other people that which is like useful for their service. Cresa plus hyperesia. This class of craftsmen or whatever, however you wanna translate techniques. Okay. So then it continues about this craftsman. How does it continue?
okay. Hutoidumonon ateleisin alakai sitometria nectu basilicu lambanusi. They are not only freed from tax, or the only one who are freed from tax, but they receive literally grain or payments from king's treasury.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that they're not only are they free from tax, because I think because also these Brahmans, right? They were also freed from all kinds of public service.
Yeah.
Probably they were also freed from tax, just like these craftsmen, according to Megasthenes. Okay, but then fifth meros. What's that one?
Okay. Pempton de tos stratioticon eistus polemus eut hetun, tomen pletchi deuteron, annesi de caipaidia pleiste chromenon entais eirenais. The fifth are soldiers who are useful in war, very useful in war.
Yeah.
They are second in numbers, or second in their numbers. And they have a lot of free time for leisure in times of peace.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the Kshatriya caste then.
Yeah.
Kshatriyas, the kings. Even though they were not kings per se, they were more soldiers. But the actual kings probably, many of them also came from this class. Yeah, and then how does it continue?
Okay. Trefete dec tu basilicu pan toplethos ton stratioton kai ton polemiston hippon te kai elephanton. The king pays for all the soldiers and war horses and elephants.
Yeah.
Or the king's treasury pays for the upkeep.
So they're nourished by this through this king's treasury. Yeah. Maybe someone wants to continue with this sixth class. Andy, have you had reached this far, didn't you?
Yep, I'll give it a wee bash. Ekton deesti toton ephoron. That was the six is of the overseers.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Autoi de polypragmonuntes. Polypragmonuntes. Is that right?
Yeah.
Pantakai ephorontes. Takata ten indikin. Apagelusi tois basilusin. Endi polis oiton abasiletos etois achusen. They are busy with many things and oversee everything in India, and they report to the kings. But if a city has no king, then the magistrate, they report to the magistrate.
Yeah. So this is interesting. This is like Herodotus also speaks about this Eastern monarchy as having kataskopoi, so spies. And then it's also in this Arthashastra, which I do some research on at the moment. Very important Indian, classical Indian book on economics and politics. There's also underlined this, that kings have to have this kind of satraps, this kind of exactly this ephoroi, overseers, or kataskopoi, which Herodotus speaks about. So who oversee everything in the land and reports back everything to the
Yeah.
So this is as well something very accurate. There are these kind of, this occupation existed, even though it's not a class or a caste per se, like the Kshatriyas were.
Yeah, it's funny he sort of puts them as a caste as such, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, this is the peculiar thing about this, that there is these 7 social classes that he speaks about. Some of them are clearly castes, but then some are more like some kind of occupational roles, but then he mixes them all together and
Yeah.
puts them as different fyle, different tribes. Then the 7th one. Continue, please.
Excuse me. Epimon desti meros to bullion men kai sunedrion toi uparton koinon bullionmonois plethei men elachiston Eugenia de kai Phronesia Malista the Thomatsumonin. No, can't get that.
Thomatsumonin.
Thomatsumonin, yeah. I have right. The seventh caste is the deliberators and the councillors.
Yeah.
And then this wee bit, the Huperton, Keonon, Bulliomonio kind of threw me a wee bit. All I could get for it was like for the common councillors.
Yeah, so these are the one who take counsel on, common public matters, or take counsel on the common good, or something like this. So the seventh part is, or the 7th class is that of the counselors, as we said, and well, this could also mean counselors. Those of the counselors who take counsel on the common good, or on public matters or something like this.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. It's like councillors, and then these councillors.
Yeah.
It's.
Well, let me see what I had for Synedreon. It's but this is a typical trait of Greek language that
Yeah.
there's very many verbs often. So I had a friend who took my first classical Greek introductory course, and but he didn't do that much work maybe on the actual course, or he never did any homework. So then one time he just looked at the text and he went like, too many words. That's
I like that.
from classical Greek. Let me see. Had this the sixth group is that these inquire closely. The seventh group is that of the counselors and deliberators. So I had this synod one as deliberators.
Liberators and councillors, yeah.
Deliberators,
Mm.
they counsel on public matters.
Yeah, something like that. The common councillors, yeah, something like that. They are the smallest in number, but in nobility of birth and in purpose are most worthy of admiration.
Yeah.
Like that. Then Ektuton gar oidi sumbole tois basiliusen eisen hoiti dioketai ton kionan kai oidikastai ton amphiabetumenon kai cathalutus hegemonon start again hegemonus kai tus archontas tuton echuse. For from them are advisors for the kings and the administrators. I had it as administrators of common arguments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on the whole, their leaders and magistrates are taken from them. They mean from the seventh portion.
Yeah, yeah. So this dikastaton amphis betumen and dikastesis can also be, or usually translated as a judge, the judges of
Yeah.
amphis betumen disputes, amphis betumen of those who are involved in disputes. So basically judges of these disputes could be one translation. By the way, why does this hoi here have an accent? Not only does it have this spiritus asper, this breathing sign, but it also has an accent here, even though it's usually right without an accent because it's an definite article in the nominative plural masculine hoi.
Yeah, is it not bringing attention to, or am I in the wrong kind of thing?
Here again, hoi. But then here we have just hoi as the normal way in
Yeah.
accent.
It's
the same definite article in all three cases.
Yes, in Hoiti.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a bit more advanced already. Does anyone have an idea why is this hoi here with an accent? Here and here, but not here. Leslie, Alexander, any idea?
I think it's because of this te, hoite symbol.
Yeah, so this te is a so-called enclitic word, which means that it usually stands without an accent. So what it means that it gives away its accent to the preceding word.
Ah, yes.
But here there is no enclitic word here after this hoi. So that's why it doesn't have an accent, because by itself it doesn't have an accent at all. So yeah, or usually stands without an accent, just like
Makes sense now.
te usually stands without an accent because it's enclitic. Okay. Then there's the opposite of enclitic, which is proclitic, and that's when it gives the accent to the following word. This is technical issues. Maybe we'll learn this and when you go your intermediate course, or if you want an even better course, which is my introductory course, that's also of course a possibility. But now you already registered for your intermediate course, so maybe it's better that you go to that one.
Oh, to be honest, I couldn't afford yours, and I'm being it sounds.
Really, it's just
I
£100.
I don't mean to sound mean, but no, it's just, I'm on benefits, so I'm
Well,
really,
I totally understand. I totally understand. But that, my course is, I think the one which is for that kind of comprehensive course, 24 lectures, goes over the whole year. It's the cheapest one you can find.
oh yes, I'm not disputing that. It's just out of my price range, unfortunately.
No. I mean, I wasn't at all trying to force you into my course. I just
No, I know the one I'm doing is only about 6-8 weeks or something like that. So,
yeah.
and it was 55 quid for that alone, you know.
Oh yeah. But it's a good price anyway. For
Yeah, it's
Really cool.
just,
Not bad.
it is a good price. It was just kind of out of my reach being on benefits, I'm afraid. I would love to have done it. I
Yeah.
still would, but
Well, you can come next year on my classical Greek introductory. Next text course instead. It will probably be for free again.
yep.
If I'm still in classics, of course. There's no guarantee.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You don't think I'm going through all this pain and misery just to give it up, do you?
Oh yeah, it's pain, but it's a sweet pain. Okay.
It is. It's worth it when it comes together. It's just a nightmare when you're going through it. I
Yeah,
said to
well,
Leslie earlier in the other course, they're asking us to translate from English into Greek, and that just threw me completely. That's all my tenses and everything just gone to hell, the grammar.
Oh, that's its own thing, but it's a good practice anyway. You can
Yeah.
force yourself to do it. Okay, maybe you want to take this paragraph to the end then. How far did we race?
Yep, I got a wee bit stuck in a part of it, but I'll highlight that in a minute. Tamen merites diaremenes politias parendois schedon toi testen. So these castes are roughly the citizenships into which the Indians are divided.
Yeah.
Uk existe di gamen exalu genus he pruaresias he texnas metachiritsestai oion stratioton ontagero Georgen texnitin onta philosophian. Now there's a bit here I got stuck on, was from the para thingy that I couldn't pronounce, and the metair thing. I got it as no one is allowed to marry someone out of another stock. But then I was understanding it's or choose to employ, but I kind of got lost a wee bit there.
Yeah, so this pro resis, it's like can mean generally choosing, but could also mean some kind of course in life or something like this. So
how's it better phrased?
Well, let me see what I had. It's not possible to marry someone from another group, which you had like that. Practice another craft.
That sounds better.
Another course.
Course in life, yeah. Yeah, sounds better.
Metaheritsma, of course, means practice. Basically. It's not possible to practice another course and not also not to practice.
That makes sense for what comes next, such as a soldier becoming a farmer or an artisan becoming a philosopher.
Yeah, exactly. So crossbreeding here is frowned upon, as I think it still is to some extent.
It is actually
Yeah.
still in India, yeah.
Okay, then we have the very last here. Maybe Leslie, have you reached this far?
Yeah.
Again about the elephants. It ends with the elephants. Elephants has been a theme that has been throughout these texts of high importance. Yeah.
Eche de ton indon hora pleistus kai megistus elephantas alke te kai megethe polo dia frontas. The country of the Indians has the most and largest elephants, differing by far in strength and size.
Yeah. And then?
Ochuita de tutoto zoon uxoste hosper tines fassen exilagmenos al homoios hippois kaitois alois tetrasi zois.
Tetraposi. Actually, yeah.
Oh, tetrapoisi. Zois. And this animal covers the female. It said in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Not as some say unusually or in an unusual way, but similar to horses and other four-footed animals.
Yeah. And then?
Cusi de tus men elachistus minas ekai deca tus de pleistus octokaideca. They are pregnant for at least 16 months.
Yeah.
And the most 18 months.
Yeah. And then?
Tiktuzi de cathaper hippoi catatopleiston hen kai trefusi to genethan hi meteris eti hex. They bear one elephant, just as horses for the most part, and the mothers rear the offspring for 6 years.
Yeah. And then?
Zosi dehoi pleistoi cathaper ho macrobiotatos anthropos hoi de malista gerasantis eti diacosia. And most live just like the longest lived men.
Yeah.
But some grow old to the highest age of 200 years.
Yeah, exactly. So those who are or who live for the longest or become the oldest, one is the or something. Yeah, they live for 200 years. Okay, then we have just one paragraph left here. Maybe Alexander, are you still there? Maybe you want to try your hands on this one.
Yeah. Just a second. Eiside parindois kai epitus xenos archontes tetagmenoi kai frontisontes hopos medeis xenos adicetai. There are among the Indians magistrates or archons who are appointed for the foreigners, and they care that foreigners receive no harm or no injustice.
Yeah.
Tois darostus situm xenon iatrus eisagusi ca intenalen epimelean poiuntai kai teleutescentas haptusin. If some of the stranger foreigners is sick or falls ill, they bring a doctor to him and they take care of him in other things.
Hmm.
And if he dies, they bury him with honor, or they properly bury him.
Yeah.
Hetita catalifthenta hremata tois prosecusin apodidoasin.
Yeah.
And if he left some possession, or they give his possession to his relatives,
Yeah.
or his closest of kin.
Yeah.
Hoite dicastaitas criseis parautois acribos diagnoscusi kai picros tois hamartanusi prosferontai. Their judges, or they have judges who examine the matters very acutely or very carefully, kai picros tois hamartanusi prosferont, and they charge diligently the wrongdoers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I understood this. And the
Alright.
last sentence,
Last sentence.
perimen huntes indices kai ton katauten archaeologumenon archeschometha tois retheisin. This is enough for India and its antiquities, or about India and in its antiquities. It is enough this which is said.
Yeah. Yeah. So this archestes and a future passive indicative here is like archemai means
It will suffice. It's
suffice, satisfy us, to be satisfied.
yeah.
We will be satisfied could be like the meaning. We will be satisfied with what has been said. Exactly. That's good. Very good work. So outstanding. We reached the end of this Megasthenes account as well, according to the others. Then our Arian has a bit different account of what Megasthenes said, or overlapping, but a bit different. And then there was a third author as well, major source for Megasthenes, but I forgot who it was. But those three. But yeah, this Theodorus' Siculus is probably maybe the main source of Megasthenes that we have. Which this seems like a fascinating verse, I must say. This Bibliotheca Historica, huge work. And I like the, I mean, this was a bit complex, this Greek, but I like the Greek actually in this work as well. So yeah, hopefully you got something out of this course again this year, and you know, hopefully I'll be able to give something similar next summer, and hopefully you're around in classics still then. And so on, I got a work interview on next week in Örebro University, but it's not in classic. It's like some research grant advisor. So it may be that I'll stop working in classics completely, but I won't give up my passion for the subject.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong thing, right? Isn't it? Somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish you the best of luck in your coming courses and other occupational matters and everything. So hope to see you again, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope to see you again next year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye.
Hi.